and the heeders of his holy and his divine word. This morning I want to do part 2 of issues with morality. Upon last week we began several lessons that we're going to do in series form, explaining why we as children of God have issues with morality. In order to understand why we have issues with morality, we saw fit to explain what morality is. And when you look at the word moral, you're looking at something that relates to principles of right and wrong in behavior. Morality describes or it expresses ethical judgment, or it implies conformity to an established sanctioned code or accepted notions of right and wrong in a community. We studied because we understood that in every culture, in every society, there is some type of moral code of ethics that people must follow. No matter where you go in the world, people have in that area a standard of right and wrong by which they govern themselves. There are certain things to them that are acceptable, and there are certain things that they deem as unacceptable. These are things that define their moral standard. What we also understood was that there are times when the moral standard of the world contradicts the moral standard of God. Wow. In other words, there are some things that the world accepts and allows that God does not accept and allow. And whenever the standard of the world contradicts the standard of God, as God's child, we ought to obey God rather than man. We looked at the fact that we ought to live above the standard of the world, and one of those things that we notice that God wants us to live above is fornication. We define the fact that fornication is illicit sexual intercourse of unmarried persons. It's defined as premarital sex, or sex that takes place between those who are not husband and wife. This word scripturally covers a wide variety of errors that God considers is a violation of his law, because in fornication God condemns homosexuality and lesbianism. He condemns the practice of bestiality, incest, or various other actions of self-gratification. We notice that the word fornication in the original language comes to us from a Greek word porneia, which is where we derived our English word pornography, which is literally fornication on film. And when the Bible tells us to flee fornication in 1 Corinthians chapter 6 and verse number 18, it was in person and on film as well. Amen, somebody. As a matter of fact, the Bible informs us in 1 Corinthians chapter 6 and verse number 13 that the body is not for fornication but for the Lord. This simply means that the Lord did not create us so that we can indulge in the sensual pleasures of our flesh. God created us so that we could do as we just sung, magnify, glorify, and worship him. The Bible explains proclaims unto us that when Solomon came to the conclusion of the whole matter, in Ecclesiastes chapter 12 and verse number 13, Solomon said that we need to hear what he has to say. He has done an experiment on life. He has had riches. He has had women. He has had prominence. He has had money. He has the most wisdom among any men on the earth. And yet Solomon said all of it is vanity. He said when it gets down to the nitty-gritty, let me tell you what this life is all about. Solomon said that we need to just fear God and keep his commandments, because this is the whole duty of man. God didn't put you here so you could gratify yourself. God put you here so you could glorify him. Amen. And so therefore we are encouraged in 1 Corinthians chapter 7 and verse number 2, nevertheless, to avoid fornication. Every man have his own wife. Amen up in here. And every woman have her own husband. Ephesians chapter 5, y'all might have this month. Ephesians chapter 5 and verse number 3, the Bible says that fornication was not even to be named among them as becometh saints, because in 1 Corinthians chapter 6 verses 9 through 10, it would be the thing that would ultimately cause them to lose their soul. And so now the world doesn't have a problem with fornication. They tell you just wrap it up. You see all those ad campaigns on the commercials, and they hold big seminars at high schools and junior high schools, and not even come up into the elementary schools, telling our children to wrap it up. I don't tell children to wrap it up. I tell them to keep it up. Don't you take down nothing until somebody put a ring on your hand, and until you stand before the preacher and I pronounce husband and wife, until you become one in matrimony. Don't worry about wrapping it up, just keep it up. And if you keep it up, you ain't got to worry about wrapping it up. Amen. But yeah, the world don't have a problem with fornication. That's one of those things where the allowance of man has contradicted the allowance of God. Amen. And so not only did we look at fornication, but in this part too, I want to look at the friendship of the world. When we look at the friendship of the world, we're going to cover a multiplicity of moral issues in which those of us who are children of God have to face on a daily basis. We have already noticed that according to 1 Corinthians chapter 6 and verse number 11, we have been washed. We've been sanctified. We've been justified. That simply means that God has taken me from where I was and has cleaned me up and then set me apart from everything and everybody that resembles who I used to be. When I am in a position of sanctification, I can't live like I used to when I didn't know no better. Now that I know better. And so therefore God has indicated to his children that once they're saved by him, they are certain for. He don't want us hanging around no more. Don't look at me like that. 1 Corinthians chapter 5. 1 Corinthians chapter 5. And again at verse number 9, Bible says, I wrote unto you in an epistle not to company with fornicators. Y'all hear that? God don't want us breaking bread with folk who committing fornication. And he didn't just limit it to the fornicators, because Paul says, yet not altogether with the fornicators of this world, or with the covetous, or extortioners, or with the idolatrous, for then you must needs go out of the world. He said, but I'm talking about folk not to keep company if any man that is called a prophet.
Yes. All right.
Hello.